Hey everybody. I'm trying something different this time. I'm gonna be dubbing the sound over gameplay I've already recorded. And this is so that I can use my better microphone, so hopefully the sound quality will be way better this episode. But yeah, so this is my devlog for my game Zero G Aces. I added enemies this week, and I also added a new level, something for you to take a look at. This is the Elon Belt. It's a belt of asteroids and space debris that surrounds Earth. And this is from us tugging things into Earth orbit to mine, but also from just having so much trash up there that it's coalesced into a belt over the 22nd century. And in this level, you fly around and try to find who attacked your base in the previous level. And so this is obviously still very early development. I haven't done any sort of testing or balancing of it, and I just sort of went at it as usual. But I did add some enemies, so at least I can show off the features of that. And what I'm trying to show off here is the bigger ship that I'm looking at, but it's too far away. I've already flown away. A few people ask me about how the radar works with a 2D plane, even though we're obviously in 3D space with Newtonian physics. The better ships will have a 3D built-in radar, but the 2D radar works like this. It's the plane of the ship as if you're like looking down on it, and then the numbers show whether the contact is above or below the plane, and so you'll know what's going on here. So here I was hubering a little bit. I thought I could do it without coolant, but I could not, and so I thought I could save some fuel, but I ended up overheating and I think crashing into an asteroid right as I got ambushed right here by a few of the new enemies. And they were launching missiles at me, and then I crashed into an asteroid. But, although you see, so I added a damage system for the ship that can have different effects based on where you're shot. And in this case, I got shot in my two bottom engines, but they were both my Group 2 exterior engines. And so I'm able to turn them off and actually continue flying using the interior engines once I've regained my bearings using RCS and gyroscopes. But I'm not in a good spot. In this particular build, I didn't have my wingmen follow me closely, so I ended up having all of the enemies attacking me at the same time. This was the first run, so I ended up having way less enemies and having the wingmen follow you much closer. But in this specific case, I was like, I need to get out of there. And right now they just shot me in the generator, and so everything shut down for a second. I thought I actually got shot down, but no, it was just a power surge that went through. But using my backup interior engines, I was able to, sort of put the velocity indicator on the ship, indicating that I'm go there, and then just turn everything off, and then turn around and start shooting at my pursuers, which you'll see in a little bit. Yeah, so I'm also overheating, and there's a bunch of problems happening right now. But yeah, as you saw, I sort of flew straight into that ambush, and I didn't even have my my arm switch on my weapons. So, rookie mistake that I will not be making twice. But also you can see I can now switch targets using the buttons, and the targets are actually limited to your forward radar as they're supposed to be. But these guys evade like a motherfucker, and they use the flares that I talked about. The flares will be getting balanced. I already made them less effective, but I think I need to make the enemy less precognizant of what's going on exactly and when to launch the flares. Because right now they're on an automated system, so they will always be better for them than for you. But here you see me flying around, flying backwards towards the mothership. The X is sort of my reverse velocity, or anti-velocity, integrate. And so I'm able to sort of provide myself covering fire as I retreat out of there. Yeah, the other things that can happen if you're getting shot is, you saw the power surge. If you get shot in the fuel tank, your fuel will leak. Your wings can get shot off. The wings each have little RCS thrusters, so if they get shot off, then you lose some of your rotational capability, as well as if you're in an atmosphere, all sorts of bad things happen if you lose a wing. But over here, you're pretty much fine losing a wing. You can, however, also lose your radiators. By the way, you saw that missile fly like sideways. What that means is the target's really far away and flying fast in a sideways direction, and so by the time that the missile would actually reach there, it would need to go in a whole different direction. Yeah, the missiles, I had to redo a lot of the work. I was cheating a little bit by making them have artificial drag even if they were in space. But what happens is, if you're flying really fast, the artificial drag makes them not be fast enough to separate from you. So I start them out at the same velocity as the ship, but they slow down and then they hit you after you've launched them, even if I give them a shove forward. So I had to redo all of them, and then turns out it's much harder hitting things in space that are moving than it is in an atmosphere. By the way, you saw me fly past the destroyer, which brought you into this level, and which has a little docking bay, just like in the hangar bay, where you can refit and resupply. That part I'm still working on, so I'm not going to show off in this video. But I do go in for a landing later on. Yeah, what do you guys think of this destroyer model? That this is one that I've made. My dad mentioned that maybe what I should do is just buy a bunch of models. There's a few issues I see with that. I mean, the money isn't as much of a problem, but a lot of the models that I see are sort of like generic sci-fi ships, and I have a very specific aesthetic that I'm going for, which is basically the ISS with guns, things that can plausibly we all already have in space. I don't want it to look like a ship from Star Wars or something like that. But if you guys think that it's too ugly, maybe I can do... Oh, the other problem I had with buying models is that sometimes they have lots of polygons, and in VR specifically you need to be cognizant of your performance overhead. And sometimes when I have some high poly models that I work with, and I spend quite a lot of time just sort of remeshing it into a more effective structure, and I'm not even sure if it was if it was worth it to time-wise, whether I could just have made like a new ship in that time. So here you see that I've shot down all of my pursuers. The destroyer also has a turret on it. That's new. That wasn't there in the previous build. None of my current enemies have turrets, which are also quite effective. I've slowed it down a little bit, but they're still pretty good at clearing out waves of enemies, which will happen to you in this level once you get back to it, which I might have a shot of me doing. So yeah, here you see that after I've cleared out the enemies, I'm going in for docking, and once I dock, I get more rockets, more fuel, and more coolant, chaff, etc., and then I can go back in the fight. Or if I've realized that I've brought perhaps the wrong loadout, I can't change the ship in one of the end level hangar bays, but you can change out your guns or missiles. The guns and missiles I'm gonna make some new ones for next week, because these ones, as your starter ones, they work, and they work for the enemies, but I really want something with a little bit more punch. You see, there's going to be a lot of turning fights in this video where I sort of get it close enough, and if I had like a Gatling gun or something with 4 times the fire rate, would have shot him down. Oh, this I'm showing off the various screens. that are going on here. And you can see there's an environment screen, an engineering screen with a bunch of debug information that I'm going to make look prettier later, so like pictures instead of text. There's the cameras on which you can see, and the radar. This is another pass of me flying through level. I think in this one I wanted to be a hotshot pilot and then crashed terribly. And I think what I wanted to show off was the game over screen, like what happens once you're actually shot down. So I'm flying through the center of that circle, easy peasy. The enemies appear, and I'm like, oh shit, time to dodge. So I wanted to go for that other little piece of asteroid, like that circle, but instead of turning my whole ship and firing my thrusters, as I should have way earlier than when I thought of it, I thought my RCS thrusters could do it, but I'm doing like 100 meters per second, if you notice, and I did not, and then I smashed 100 meters per second into the asteroid, instantly destroying my ship. Yeah, so next week I think if I get more time, I want to work on the bigger ships, both with having more intelligent AI for larger ships. I've tried just throwing on the drone AI and then seeing how it works, but I want to make something more specifically towards big ships instead of just having the same generic AI for all of them. And then also working on the hangar bay so that it's more presentable, in the battle hangar bay, and also the more weapons that you can switch out. There's a lot of silence in space. I guess I conceptually knew it back when I started working on it, but it didn't appear to be a problem until I started flying through. And I'm hoping that once I give voices to the wingmen and add more sound effects and maybe some ambient sound, it's gonna sound a lot more busy in there. But yeah, so that's the progress for the game so far, and I'll leave you with some video of me fighting these enemies.